Emmanuel Macron, Europe's youngest leader, a champion of reform, a political centrist who promised to heal France's old wounds. But behind the fresh face and polished speeches lies a record that has divided a nation and shaken the very idea of French democracy. Tonight we unpack the scandals, the power plays, the elite lifestyle, and the bruising pension fight that made Macron both admired and despised. This is the untold story of the president of the rich. The jet-set president. It started in the scars. From his first month in office, Macron faced backlash for costly flights on France's presidential fleet trips that could often be done faster and far cheaper by high-speed train. For example, in 2018, he used a military jet for a short domestic trip costing over 15,000 euros. Sparking outrage. Investigations later showed his air travel expenses reaching over 3.5 million euros a year, including flights to nearby European cities like Brussels or Strasbourg, just hours away by train. Critics called it the jet-set presidency, proof he lives above ordinary people's reality, flying in luxury while rural towns struggle to buy fuel or pay rent. Palace plates and golden cutlery. Then came the plates. And they were no ordinary dishes. In 2018, it was revealed that the Elysee Palace had quietly commissioned over 50,000 euros worth of custom-made porcelain from France's prestigious manufacturer de Sèvres, an elite ceramics workshop that has supplied French royalty and presidents since the 18th century. The justification: the palace claimed the old dinnerware was cheap and incomplete, some of it dating back to Jacques Chirac's era. But for many French taxpayers, it was tone-deaf luxury. At the same time, the Elysee was spending millions more on renovations, a 500,000 euros facelift for the presidential garden, an updated press room costing over 300,000 euros, upgrades to reception halls and private apartments, all while public sector workers were striking for higher wages and pensions. For critics, the message was clear. While teachers, nurses, and retirees marched for better pay, the president dined off royal porcelain in freshly restored salons. It wasn't just a scandal about plates. It became a symbol. Was Macron a modern king dressed up as a Republican president? Banker in the palace. Some say none of these should come as a surprise. Before politics, Emmanuel Macron made his fortune at Rothschild & Co., one of France's most powerful investment banks. He famously negotiated Nestlé's multi-billion euro takeover of Pfizer's baby food division, a deal that earned him the nickname the Mozart of finance in Paris business circles. When Macron entered the Elysee, he brought that pro-businesses mindset with him. His government slashed France's wealth tax, a deeply symbolic move that had forced the ultra-rich to pay extra on big assets. Instead, he replaced it with a narrower tax on real estate, saving France's wealthiest households millions each year. He also cut corporate taxes to attract investment and loosened labor laws to make hiring and firing easier. For global markets, this was modernization. For many French workers, it felt like betrayal. These reforms helped fuel the Yellow Vest movement, a grassroots uprising that began over fuel taxes but quickly grew into a furious rejection of what protesters called Macron's elitist presidency. To them, he wasn't a leader of the people. He was a polished banker in a tailored suit, speaking for boardrooms in Paris and Brussels, not for truck drivers in Normandy or factory workers in Lille. The Benalla affair, the bodyguard scandal, but no scandal rattled Macron's presidency like the Benalla affair. In May 2018, Alexandre Benalla, one of Macron's closest security aides and a trusted insider at the Elysee, was caught on video wearing a stolen police armband and helmet while violently dragging and beating peaceful May Day protesters in Paris. At first, the incident was hushed up. Benalla was quietly suspended for 2 weeks, but he kept his official privileges, his badge and access to sensitive areas inside the presidential palace. The French daily Le Monde broke the story a month later, igniting public outrage. What began as a case of police brutality by a man who wasn't even a police officer turned into a national debate on how far Macron's inner circle would go to protect their own. Investigations revealed Benalla had kept diplomatic passports even after being fired and had traveled abroad posing as an official security envoy of the French presidency. The opposition accused Macron's team of a deliberate cover-up and misuse of state power to hide a crime, all while ordinary French people would never get such special treatment. Parliament launched multiple hearings. Macron, for the first time in his presidency, faced a credibility crisis at home. He famously brushed off the scandal in a closed-door party meeting, saying, "If they're looking for someone to blame, let them come for me. I am responsible." But for many, it confirmed their fears. Macron's jealousy protected insiders while pitching accountability to everyone else. The affair left a stain on his promise of moral politics and proved that even a young president could govern with old, opaque methods. The pension war. And then came the biggest test yet, the pension reform crisis of 2023. Macron argued that raising the retirement age was necessary to keep France competitive and avoid financial collapse. Millions of French citizens called it an insult, a betrayal of the social contract that defined modern France for generations. Strikes paralyzed trains, streets filled with burning barricades, protesters carried signs calling Macron a king who ignored the people's voice. When Parliament refused to pass the reform, Macron's government used a rare constitutional loophole, Article 49.3, allowing a law to pass without a parliamentary vote. For many, it was their ultimate proof. He spoke of democracy but ruled by decree when the people said no. King or visionary? Yet, despite scandal after scandal, Emmanuel Macron survives. He remains Europe's loudest centrist, a leader in the war to keep Europe united as Russia pushes its borders. To supporters, he is a brilliant pragmatist doing the hard, unpopular things other politicians fear. To critics, he is proof that France has traded one monarchy for another. So who is Emmanuel Macron? A daring modernizer, a ruthless elitist, a king without a crown? One thing is clear, in Macron's France, the old idea that liberty, equality, fraternity protects everyone equally feels more fragile than ever. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the power behind the headlines. Merci for watching.